Okay, I want to mention something about this back and forth. Now, I don't want to come across as Mr. Can't we all just get along or anything? I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think it necessarily has to happen, but I still want to have my say about my piece about this. I think everybody in this little, Warbles and Greytex versus Skid Row and Forever Wolf films. You know what, you guys, Greytex does have a point. The more powerless you feel, the more you as a human being are going to go around and have an urge to pick a fight with somebody, right? We all know that's why when we get irritated about something, maybe we don't even know what we're irritated about sometimes. We know if we're in that state, we've got to watch out. We might pick on our loved ones or something. It's hard not to try to find a proxy battle. And that's fine. I think it is actually okay to have those proxy battles, but you need to keep things in scope, okay? Now, Greytex and Warbles, neither one of them have expressed ill will towards DE. Now, Greytex, he has criticized DE, and it's at a time where don't say ill, don't make it philosophical. And that's what I said in one of his first videos. It's like, well, you're making it a little more philosophical. This is something I thought we should take as a practical thing. Even if we talk about it, it's a matter of pragmatics to me. Right. But you gotta remember, you guys are mad. What was his basic point? That insulting Indonesia isn't gonna help. It's the same with Warbles. It's like, you guys are mad at Warbles. I don't get that. Warbles' first videos, one, it's obviously the case that he thought about this situation from a point of view of having sympathy for DE. And everything he says that he has gotten called an asshole for in this particular exchange, so I guess the people have these arguments I'm not aware of going back. They're what zombie picture shows concluded. Hasn't the United Front basically come to this conclusion that these ombudsmen cautioning you guys about, you can't rail against the Indonesian government and get anywhere with that, at least not in the sense of helping DE. Isn't that the page you guys are all got on? But you're angry at each other. Well, what do you need? Maybe should we bring Snake Plisskenus? Maybe we could bring Hard Case Owens, or get the Amazing Atheists in this and see how offended we could really get with people that really would have no concern of DE. Everybody in this conversation agrees that it's fucked up. And I think if anybody had some magic wand to wave, they would free him and every other marijuana prisoner in Indonesian jails, probably. We should keep things in perspective. And that goes to you too, Greytex. I've had my problems with Skid Row Radio. I just think that you're doing a little bit of what you're complaining about. It's like, this guy is a person, so you're paying attention to that. And sure enough, they come along, they make, Greytex Bless Him video. They're also had got their heads around doing something productive for DE, and that counts. If we're not demonizing people, then that's what that means. It's like, yep, they have their flaws, there they go again. Look, at least they got themselves together not to write an angry email to Indonesia, but rather a helpful emails to DE and support DE in the real situation that is undoubtedly going to unfold. So there's plenty of that to go around. Alright, so it goes back and forth. I mean, if people, an old fan, you might be mad that Greytex is reading rude comments at the petition. But then, if that's true, you should be mad at the people that write those comments too. And it doesn't mean you have to like Greytex to realize, well, sometimes it takes somebody that is not your closest ally to bring up mistakes that are going on the side among your allies. It acts as an ombudsman. Now, I'm not saying for anybody to take this like me because it's got its problems, but I like having these conversations online with people I have some disagreement with. I think through honest disagreement, that's the only way to honest agreement. So I'd love to work on agreements here, but I'm not one of those people that if I sense I already agree with someone, pull them close or distance. No, that is pointless. I already have my ideas. I'm looking for new ideas, and that's among the differences. But I do seek an agreement, but people don't really share this method of let's disagree ardently to find an agreement. I think the one person I could say, well, I could think of a half dozen people that's happened with, but that are around now. Hythloday and I have done this. We've gotten some honest agreements through honest disagreements. It's most people don't want to. They build up too many grudges before the honest agreement can happen. Right? They focus on these things that that perpetuate the the idea and tangibility of the worldview, the game that they think they're in, and the role that they think everybody else is playing in that game. A little cognitive tool let me add to help navigate these kinds of situations is this. It's like Graytex and Warbles were making a big deal about don't make anti-Indonesian videos if you think you're doing it in support of DE, right? Now, that turns out to be true. Now, problem we have is when people that are our adversaries, that we hold as our adversaries, say something true, we go, yeah, but that's like a coincidence. They were coincidentally true. They were just trying to be a jerk. And you know how jerks are. Sometimes they use the truth because that can make you be the most jerkiest. Yeah, well, when that happens to me, I go, well, yeah, if that's all they ever did, if people only ever used the truth to do those kinds of maneuvers that make them assholes, we'd be swimming in truth at least. It'd hardly matter, oh, you're an asshole. Well, I mean, if they're sticking with... So, when it turns out to be true, don't double down on the anger, right? And that goes both ways. It goes both on the cautions that Warbles is saying, and it also goes on the claims that Forever Wolf Films is like, no, we're not going to make it worse, we're going to help it. That looks like that's happening too. You could call it giving credit where credit is due. Doesn't mean you have to like the person. You have your reasons for feeling about them a certain way as a person. That's up to you. It's just that it still behooves you to separate out a bit the truth. And I think you find it softens your resolve to demonize. You have less of a desire, less of an obsession demonizing when you realize that your opponents and adversaries, even the terrible ones that are like 70% bullshit, well, that's still 30% not bullshit, and that's not bullshit. Okay, cheers.